Hello everyone, Tech1421 here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Online gameplay commentary. Today I have a Shiftry gameplay, a Shiftry deck, which is pretty darn awesome. And I do get to go first. You definitely want to go first with this deck. And I noticed that my opponent has a water energy, which means it's probably playing some kind of water deck, which works in my favor because I am grass type, and grass is good against water unless it's like some kind of, I don't know, it's like weak to steel or something like that, like Kyrium. But Shiftry is a pretty cool Pokemon. Now, its attack, you'll see later, it has a really awesome name, which is called Deranged Dance. Now, for two colorless energy and a grass energy, you do 20 damage times the amount of bench Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So it's a pretty darn cool attack. It works pretty good. The theory behind it is you want to be doing 180 because that's what most EXs have. Some EXs have 170. So in order to do that, you need to have a full bench of 5. That's 100. And then if your opponent has at least 3 on their bench and you have a silver bangle, you're going to be doing the, I think, 200 damage at that point. So that's what you're going to need to do. Now, if they have 170, all you need is a full bench of 5, and then your opponent to have 2 on their bench, and then the silver bangle, and you're going to be doing 170. So a little bit of math involved in that, but you know, you have to do that, a math aspect for certain decks and certain Pokemon attacks. And then Shiftry, it just looks cool to begin with anyways. Now it also has an ability, which is called a Leaf Draw. Once per turn, you can discard a grass energy, and then you draw you draw 3 cards. So that's pretty awesome. You don't use it too often, but sometimes you definitely want to use it. I do draw the Shiftry I top deck the Shiftry, which is really nice. And I noticed my opponent is playing a Greninja Miltank deck. Now, I'm not sure if it has Kingdra in it. I haven't seen the Horsey or the Kingdra at all, so I'm not quite sure there. But I do get the turn 2 Shiftry. I have the DC on there as well as the grass energy. So I'm going to be attacking. I'm going to be getting the knockout this turn because Jirachi only has 110 XP, and I'm going to be doing 130 damage from this Deranged Dance. So that is fantastic. Early 2 prizes. It kind of sucks for my opponent that they did have to play Jirachi early on there, but I do get a Druddigon from my prizes, as well as another Shiftry, which is great. If I manage to get the Rare Candy into play next turn, then I can actually go ahead and get another Shiftry into play. And it takes 2 turns to power up Shiftry, but you might notice the Feebas on the bench there. Now, why those are there, they only have 30 HP, which is kind of tough in the deck I'm playing against because they can be sniped. But the reason I play the Feebas is because my Milotic from this new Flashfire set, these both are from Flashfire, even Druddigon. So all 3 cards in this deck are from Flashfire, which is pretty cool. So this is essentially a Flashfire kind of monotype deck here. But anyways, what Milotic does is, you can see there, Milotic is I get another Milotic on into play, and then I'm going to go into Shauna. But Milotic, what it does is you can sacrifice Milotic, and your opponent gets a prize, and you sacrifice it, you put it into your discard pile, and then you get to take 3 energy from your discard pile and put it onto any one Pokemon. And this deck also plays 1 water energy, and the reason why you do that is because if you are playing against a fire type deck, all you have to do is attach the water energy. Its attack does 60 damage, and then you attach the water energy and the DCE, and then you're doing 60 damage. And if you actually attach a silver bangle, it's doing 90, and then you can easily one-shot a lot of fire type Pokemon. So that's why you play the 1 water energy. You might notice that in there. My opponent does Colorless for a big 6 cards, which is kind of cool to get a good amount of cards in there. And I'm just hoping that my opponent doesn't get the Greninja into play, because when it gets the Greninja into play, things can get, you've seen from my previous videos, if you watch my Greninja deck, it can get to a slow start, but it can take a lot of prizes in a hurry with Greninja because they're doing a lot of damage. And again, I'm not quite sure if he is playing the Kingdra, but that's okay. So I'm going to get the knockout here on this Miltank, which is great. I'm probably going to chorus to get more cards, so I can get another Shiftry powered up, because all you would have to do is just Water Shuriken me and then Powerful Friends, and I'm a goner. So got to be careful there. So I am going to actually get I'm going to use my Dowsing Machine. That's the aspect that I play in this deck. I'm going to get rid of the Grass Energy. I'm going to Leaf Draw for 3. Don't necessarily get what I want. I'm going to attach the Bangle on, not the Bangle, the Muscle Band onto Druddigon. And the reason I do this is because its attack is Revenge for a DCE, and you do 20 damage and then plus 70 if they knocked you out last turn, if they knocked out one of your Pokemon. And if you had the Muscle Bin on there, if I get knocked out with Miltank, then I'm actually going to be able to knock out Miltank next turn as well with the Revenge. That's why I do that. This is also really good against decks with Dragon EX Pokemon, because then you can just get the one-shot KO on them. If you have the Bangle on there or the Muscle Band, it's going to do that 110 or 120 times 2 if it's Dragon type, so that's really great. Now, I only have 2 more prizes to go. It's looking really good right here. I have the Lasond in hand if I want to catch her up the Frogadier and get that out of the way. But we'll see what my opponent's going to do. He's going to Super Rod for the Jirachi, which is kind of weird. I wouldn't have probably put the Jirachi back into play there. Even put in your deck, it's kind of a weird play. But he does have the those 2. He gets the 2 water cards back, and then he's actually going to get a Greninja here. So he has the Greninja in play. If he actually gets 2 Greninjas, there you can see he's going to get the 1. If he gets 2 Greninjas, he could actually use the Water Shuriken, and he plays a Juniper. So if he gets a Greninja and then 2 Water Energies, he can actually knock me out with Powerful Friends if he uses both Water Shurikens on my Shiftry. So we'll have to see what he does. It doesn't look like he got the Greninja, so he's going to be, I think, about maybe 2 damage short. No, actually 1 damage short. So I'm remaining with 1 damage left on me, so I get kind of lucky there. I'm just going to Lysander up the Greninja, get that out of the way. He is weak to grass, so I don't have to do too much damage. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to get rid of the DCE. Now he can Water Shuriken me next turn and kill me, but I'm not too worried about that. I just don't want to get an easy. I don't want him to get an easy knockout. So I'm going to Deranged Dance for 280 damage. Gonna get my fifth prize there. Only need 1 more, and I am completely set up to be able to do that. There's nothing he can really do in this situation besides maybe like Poison Stall me or something, but I got this game in the bag. All I would have to do is, if he knocks me out with his Miltank, is I'm just going to simply put up my Druddigon, and then I'm going to use my Milotic to get 2 energies, and then attach them to my Druddigon, and life will be good. So he does get the Greninja into play there. He's going to Water Shuriken my Shiftry, get his first prize of the game, but it's a little bit too late for him to get those prizes at this point. I do have everything set up the way I want it to, and he's going to EV Soda, whatever it's called. He's actually not even going to get anything, so that is fantastic. He's going to use Powerful Friends for 80, and I am just going to Deranged Dance for the game. So good game by my opponent. Just didn't get things set up. My deck set up pretty fast that game, and it's a pretty good deck, Shiftry. Now it doesn't play too well against decks like, you know, like the top tier decks like Yvetal and like Virizion, Genesect, stuff like that. It doesn't do too well against. It does pretty good against Blastoise, surprisingly. Yeah, I mean, it is weak to grass and all, but if Blastoise gets set up, then it's kind of hard to deal with, even though it is, you know, a water type and it's weak to grass. But it's also, if they have the Black Kyurems in there, you can also get the one-hit KOs with your Druddigon later in the game too. So it works out pretty good against Blastoise, but it has, you know, bad matchup against fire decks and stuff like that as well. But overall, I really enjoyed the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay. If you guys can leave it a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below how you would like the deck, and I'll have more gameplays out with it later. Hope you enjoyed. See you all next time. Peace.